Hi everyone. I am really excited because today I get to show you that I am going to have more space to garden. I don't know if any of it's going to be ready this season, since it's almost near the end of the season, and even if it is, I'm trying to take my time in planning what I want to plant here. But basically, we are building a deck on our garage. Well, we are not, but the people who know how to build things are. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a quick tour. It's nowhere near done, and I'm not 100% sure if everything is secure. So I'm going to try my best to walk around without falling or breaking anything. And then we'll go upstairs because I, of course, have already been getting plants and containers that I do want to put in this space, even though I just said I was going to try to take my time planning it. But I'm really excited because this is going to give me about 20 by 20 more square feet, which is basically 1/3. So it's going to increase my garden by 1/3. Does that make sense? Because both of my upstairs decks are 18 by 19 square feet. So let me show you around. An example of how we are nowhere near close to being done with this is there are no stairs at this first little incline. We do have the second set of stairs there, but this basically connects our house to the garage. There's a breezeway, so this is on top of the breezeway, and I'll go over what I think I'm going to plant here in a little bit after I show you the space. But now I'm going to attempt to get up this slope, so be right back. And we made it. So coming along here, this is going to be our garage deck. There is an old grill that we've had here that I'm pretty sure pieces are missing off of, and there is going to be a pergola. So I will have a little bit of shade outside, which is really nice. But this is what it looks like right now. Now, just as a reminder, if you don't already know, I am not a construction worker. I'm not an architect. I might not use the right terms when I'm describing these things, but I'll try to do my best to tell you kind of what we are doing or what we are planning to use. So, I mean, there's not much here yet. There's the flooring and then what's going to be the pergola, but we did make some decisions specifically based on me gardening on here. For example, we went with tile instead of wood. So this is a manufactured stone tile, I believe. This is where I think I'm describing this correctly, because it won't rot. So if there is, water sitting on here, it's just not going to get damaged in the way that wood potentially could. The rooftop decks are wood. I'm very nervous about them all the time, so this won't be like that. And wood decks, I think you're supposed to replace every 15 to 20 years. This is, I think, like at least 100 years. So it is very durable, and I don't know if that's something I would have cared about if I wasn't planning to grow things on here. Also, I've had some questions before about just drainage in general, and I actually asked them this. There are spaces in between here, so where you would normally put grout with tile, this is where the water drains. And then I think I have some other video when they were building the deck itself, but there's a space between this layer and then the actual ceiling of the garage, and then the water goes down there and it slants towards two, which you can't see, but two gutters, which are underneath there in the two corners. So yeah, this is what it looks like so far. There will be siding up here for a little bit of privacy. Again, a pergola over the top that I'll be able to open and close depending on how much light I want. But as I'm standing on these, they don't feel the most sturdy, so I feel like I should maybe get off of them for now. So while I have had a lot of ideas brainstorming so far what I'm going to do up here, none of them are certain yet, but I do think I'm pretty sure of what I want to plant on the breezeway portion of the deck. So the door that goes out here actually connects to where the kitchen is. So what I'm thinking is narrow planters here, because the sun is coming from over there, so it's shining that way. I think we get full sun. These are two hornbeam trees, so there is a little bit more shade than there would be, but I think it should still be enough sun for herbs. So I'm going to do herbs along here so we can just hop out from the kitchen and grab them. And then I also think I want to put some cement planters or stone planters up there with more herbs. And I'll probably have a plant or two that has flowers here as well, just to make it look more pretty, but that's gonna be the plan for on this side. And then what I'm hoping works out, and I think is probably gonna be the most exciting part, is an arch. An arch that's gonna go, it'll be on the main garage deck. So I want a planter here on the other side of the brick wall, a planter here. Not sure what I'm gonna grow up the arch yet, but then in the planter will be the arch I got from Gardener Supply last Christmas. I did do a video of all of the garden related stuff I got for Christmas, which I think was everything that I got for Christmas was garden related. And I got the arch from Gardener Supply that I was planning to use up on the deck. And then when we decided that this was going to happen this year, I was like, it'd be perfect down here. One, it's less windy because it's not 3 stories up. And two, I think that entryway, I think you can hear my cat, that entryway is the perfect size for that arch. So I was wondering if anyone was gonna ask, like, whatever happened to that arch, and no one did until last week. And then I saw a comment on that video about it, and I said, you'll see what's gonna happen to it in a video soon. So things like that I don't know if I'm gonna be able to have set up this year at all. I wouldn't wanna set it up and then it's gonna be winter in a month. So we'll kind of see how this progresses. But I think now let's head upstairs to the rooftop decks and I will go through what plants that are currently up there I have that I do plan to move down here. All right, so I am now on our front rooftop deck. I'm very excited to be able to have 3. So we'll have the west facing front, the east facing back, and then I'll probably just call the new one the garage deck because that is the easiest. But like I said, we're basically adding a whole another outdoor space, which is fantastic. So let me give you a bit of backstory. First off, we moved in here in June of 2020, I think it was. And luckily, when we moved in, there were no renovations that needed to be made to the house. Everything was in really good condition, except that the day we moved in, the air conditioning unit was leaking through the smoke detectors. So that was interesting. But after that was fixed, there really hasn't been any major projects that needed to be done. We did like paint some rooms, hang some shelves, but that was really it. So this is the first major overhaul, and I'm really excited. So there always has been a deck on top of the garage that we could have used, but it was very obviously rotting. Like the wood was rotting, and there were actually pieces of it that would fall off if the wind was even like just slightly above mild. So we were actually collecting pieces of wood that fell off and we're keeping them in the house just in case we ever needed them in the future. Now we can actually get rid of them, but that is exciting. But basically we never really used that space in the 4 years we've been here. I mean, we had the grill sitting out there, so we'd use that once in a while, but again, I think there's a piece of the grill missing. Sometimes we would take some folding chairs out, but to me, it didn't make sense to invest in like putting plants out there or putting furniture out there when we knew that at some point we were going to need to redo the deck in order to use it anyway. So we've just really been using these 2 rooftop decks as our outdoor space. But now we will have that space, which I feel like is much more convenient, especially if we have people over, because it is just connected right there instead of having to come up here. But I still take people up to see my garden anyway. But I have learned as an adult that usually construction projects aren't as simple as you hope they're going to be, which was the case with our house. So we knew again that the deck itself was rotting. They took up the deck and then they could tell that the actual roof itself, like the joints, again, this is where I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but like the wood that was used to construct the actual roof of the garage was also rotting. And that's why they were saying like, oh, you know, those like stains that you're seeing in the garage, that's because water is leaking through here. So that was all fun to learn, but that also meant that we had to repair all of that first before we could just build the deck on top. So we first started, I think we first met with the company in November of 2023. So that's when we thought, okay, you know what, year 4 of being in this house, now we're going to go ahead and redo that deck. So November we met with the company, got proposals, signed everything, waited for the permitting process, and then I think actual work started May. and I wanted to save it for when the whole thing would be done, but just construction in general, obviously it takes much longer than you think. So I didn't go in expecting to have it done for this summer. I just like kind of hoped it might be, but I will say just in general, the people that we're working with are great. Nothing is being delayed out of like the realm of normal things with construction. So it's just been very interesting though to see the entire process unfold. And now that we're past all of the fixing of the issues and onto the adding of the new deck and then the pergola, I'm very excited. And also very excited about the pergola specifically because the two decks that we have right now, they're full sun, which is great for the plants, not so great for people when the sun is directly shining on them. And I know that's like, you know, you have outdoor space, you're lucky enough to have this outdoor space, and you're complaining that it's too hot, but in the winter I'll also complain that it's too cold. But really up here, the heat feels much more intense, so I will avoid this deck that I'm on right now really until about this time. So it is a little after 6 once the sun starts to go down, because the afternoon sun is just way too hot to like sit and enjoy. And then the back deck too, I'll wait until the sun goes over. So maybe out there like 3-ish, it's in full shade. But having a pergola means I can sit out there in the shade anytime. So it's going to be a much cooler space. And that means I can grow part shade plants. There's my pigeon friends. So that's going to be exciting too. So I know I showed you a little bit about what I'm thinking with like the herbs and the arch, but that's really it in terms of for sure what I think I'm going to plant there. I think some of my hydrangeas I might move down there. So the pergola is going to be black. The tile is kind of that white color. I think I'm going to have more white flowers down there because I think the contrast against the black pergola would be really nice. So probably some white hydrangeas down there, but let me know what other plants you might recommend growing in that space. I already do have some containers that I need to see if they actually work down there. So once the deck and the pergola are done, I will at least move the containers out there and show you what I'm thinking, because of course, again, I've been gathering things since I knew that this was actually going to happen this year. But I'm really excited to have just kind of a different, not completely different, but sort of a different growing environment than what I have up here, which is all full sun. I also, probably lying to myself, I also want it to be a lower maintenance garden. So maybe more perennials, things that will come back year after year, so I don't have to worry about planting up all the pots down there. Things that maybe don't need as much attention, so I might do some more like natives down there as well. But we'll see. We'll see how it all unfolds. Like I said, I'm really trying to take this at a slower pace. And I should say too, I'm not gonna, again, might be lying to myself, I'm not going to dedicate as much space to plants as up here. So I do want to have at least a seating area and then maybe like a small table and chairs so that if we do have people over, again, that's what's connected to our kitchen. We go right out there and have a barbecue. So that is something that I need to make sure to leave space for. So I'm even thinking, you know, should I start looking for furniture first, even though I don't think I'd want that here this year, probably wait until next year, depending on how long it takes to order and actually get things delivered. But should I put the furniture in place first before putting the plants in place? Just so I know I have enough room and I'm not overcrowding it. But we're going to see how this turns out. I'm very excited. Let me also now show you, because I do have some specific plants, and I think I've said in a video before, like, oh, I don't have a permanent place for this yet. And anytime I said that, that's because that plant was going to be down there. I don't think there's any specifically on the back deck, but there are some on the front deck here. So let me show you the ones that I'm going to move down. Well, first off, I know I said I want to have herbs in the breezeway area, but I'm still going to grow a bunch of herbs up here in the same configuration. So I think the difference will be herbs that I use for teas and that I'll dry up here in my curtain rods, like all of my mints. I'll probably keep those up here. Herbs that we use more for cooking, so rosemary, thyme, oregano. I still might have multiples, but those will be the ones that I focus down there in that section on the breezeway. I also want to do my little container orchard down there. So just have a corner of my fruit trees. So my 2 columnar apple trees will definitely be going down there. I don't know if they're going to get moved down this year. Probably not, because, you know, setting up a hose, making sure that I have everything ready to water. So that probably won't be until next spring. But these two will definitely go down there. My Chicago Hardy fig will go down there, which I ate a fig off of, and it was the first fig I've ever had, and it was delicious. And then where is my mini peach tree? There she is. So this mini peach tree is also going to go down there. And I think that's it. Maybe some of these perennials I'm still deciding, but these might be a bit more brightly colored. So they might stay up here for next year. Now, one thing I do also have to consider is overwintering, and I would love it if everything that I put on top of the garage can stay there and not have to go into the garage over winter. But I think all my fruit trees I'll probably keep in the garage for this winter, because again, I don't think they're going to be ready to go out there. There is a faucet on that deck, so I can set up irrigation and all that once I get everything into place. But again, that's probably not going to be until next spring. So my fruit trees will go in the garage. They all definitely need to be potted up into larger pots. I'm waiting on that till they're actually on the garage deck. I'll probably get some like matching pots for my little orchard section. Something that's also going to be a bit different is, so our neighbors' houses are all like identical to ours, and they're barely ever on the rooftop decks, which is nice in terms of privacy. Now, our neighbors are great, so that's not a problem, but just like when I'm out here, I'm like, where is everyone? How is no one just enjoying their rooftop decks? But they are in their garage decks a lot. So I don't know how that's going to be filming. I'm not used to really filming in front of a lot of people, so we're going to have to do it anyway, though. And I also think, so the pergola will have panels on the sides for a little bit of privacy. And then I'm probably also going to maybe put some evergreens for a little bit of privacy as well. I also have a raised bed that I think I'm going to stain black, that's just been sitting down in our bedroom in a box. I'm going to stain that black and set that up and maybe grow, that will probably grow annuals in. I want to get some more like formal looking containers for some perennials. So yeah, that's the plan. But I'm really excited because, sorry, just letting them do their thing. I'm going to turn into the lady from Home Alone soon. But I'm just really excited to have more space. I feel like they need something from me. Hello, hi. What was I saying? Oh, really excited to have more outdoor space. I'm gonna try not to just turn it into a garden, but I want to make it look really pretty with a bunch of plants that, again, hopefully are low maintenance, or things that we're gonna use coming in and out of the house, going into the kitchen. So that's really exciting. I think the color scheme is going to be white, purple, and pink, but that is subject to change as well. But if there's anything you think I should definitely grow, any ideas that you have, what is the perfect plant that I can grow on the trellis? It's going to either have to be something that is an annual, so I can pull it every year, because the pot that I'm going to grow it in won't be able to move, it'll be too heavy, or something that can survive in a container in Chicago over the winter. So let me know if you have any ideas for that. But I'm really excited. I can't wait to be able to actually use that space and just to see how it all turns out. So thank you so much for watching. I'm excited for this new garden journey that we're going to go on, but obviously most of the time for the rest of this year is still going to be spent up in our 2 gardens up here. This is where I intend to still garden most of the time, but I will take you along as I have any updates to share on the garage deck. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.